Welcome back. In our last one, we linked an assignment. This time we're going to go in and create it from scratch. So going back into my sandbox from my dashboard, and you'll see I have my pages and I have my assignment. It has a little pencil, has a due date, and it has points. So from here, the next thing that I'm going to do is I want to create an assignment. So I can do that a couple of ways. I'm going to go to assignments so that I get kind of the overview of the whole thing for you. We're going to add an assignment with the plus sign. And we're just going to call it assignment number 2. We can put information into this section. And because I think it's just easiest for people to understand 100 points, I put it for my first one. So it's kind of kept that as a default of, hey, do you want everything to be at 100 points? So you can set those to different levels if you want to edit in this spot. It's in my assignments group, and there's some fancier things to be able to do to how to group things so that you could have it linked to your how you'd set up your grade book. But for this one, we're just going to build a basic. We're going to display them as points. You have choices there of other things that you can have them do. But for right now, I think it's just the easiest to keep them as points. Then how do you want the students to be able to do something? Because I had chosen a file type on the last one, it wanted to go to that same thing. So how do I want kids to turn them in? For right now, we're going to say online. And when I do, it gives me some options. Because I chose filed uploads in the last one, that's what's defaulted to this version. So this would be like I gave an assignment out to my kids. They type in a Google Doc journal entry or something, and then they're going to send it back to me. So this is how I want them to be able to give me back the information. I have some other choices. It's not going to be a group assignment for this. I don't want peer reviews, although I can assign that to them. I'm giving this to all the kids in my class. If I had a class list imported into this, I could assign it just to some kids, but for right now, I want it to go to everyone. Then down here, I'm going to choose my due date. And for this, I'm going to make it August 7th, which would be a Friday. And it's going to be available. Now, you can isolate the times that students can work on things with this. But for elementary and for the number of times and kids that we're going to be working with, I would just leave it open-ended from, when you start something until the date that it's due. So you can't shut it off ahead of time. It has to stay available through your due date. And so I just leave it at the defaults. I'm not worried about changing the times. And so it's just available from the first day of school until the time that I want it turned in. And it's available for them to turn it in at this point all the way up until midnight. So if I wanted to shut that off and make it a different time, I can go in and change that and make it maybe turn off at 3:30 or something if you don't want to be worried about people turning things in after that. So I've got all that information that's in there. I've got a point value. I've got how they're going to turn it into me, who's getting it, when it's due, and the times that go along with that. So I have all that information in here. And what's happening at this point is my picture in the corner is covering up the section where I wanted to be able to save. So I'm going to move myself over a little bit and click save. You'll see that it'll show me kind of what I've done. I can add a rubric here if I want to. And at this point, it's ready for me to go get. So I'm going to go back to my modules. And you'll see I have what's already been there, my pages and my assignment. And I'm going to now go in and add that assignment in here. So you'll see here's the list of the things I've created. I want to get number 2. And I want to add that item, and you'll see it popped up with a little pencil. It's the second one. My due date is off by a couple days, so I have some time to get it done, and I have my point value in there. So hopefully that gives you some ideas of what you could add as pages of information and how you can link assignments to your modules as well.